Hello and welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley. Homeowners left struggling to pay their mortgages while others fear they'll never get on the property ladder as interest rates go up for the 13th time in a row.
I don't think I'll ever get a mortgage. I don't think I'll ever be able to afford it. At the rate where everything's going, I don't think I'll ever be able to afford one.
Meanwhile, charities in Hampshire say there's been an unprecedented rise in demand and want more donations to help those who are struggling.
Also on the programme, 75 years to the day since the Empire Windrush docked. We meet the man who was threatened with deportation despite living here for decades.
And football takes centre stage at the Special Olympics. Players and coaches from our region receive messages of support from some greats of the game. Good evening. It's bad news for homeowners in the Thames Valley as interest rates have gone up for the 13th time in a row in a bid to curb inflation.
Well, today the Bank of England increased the rate of borrowing to 5%, up from 4.5%, which was a larger increase than expected. For homeowners, it means more misery as energy bills, food and fuel costs continue to pile up.
Mortgage advisors in the region say it'll be a big shock for the thousands due to come off fixed-rate deals, while first-time buyers are being put off entering the market. Juliet Fletcher has our story.
With the rising cost of living, today's announcement of an increase in interest rates will hit many mortgage holders hard and put others off from buying at all.
I don't think I'll ever get a mortgage. I don't think I'll ever be able to afford it. At the rate where everything's going, I don't think I'll ever be able to afford one.
I've already been trying to save for the last few years and I've already got like barely anything. So the fact all the prices keep going up, it's like I'll probably be like in my 50s or 60s by the time I'll be able to actually afford one.
Lucy Phillips' current mortgage is coming to an end in November. For a few weeks now, she's been looking at payment projections and considering her options.
The amount it would go up by absolutely blew me away. And I was looking at something like a 45 to 50% increase on what I'm currently paying, which is in excess of about £500 to £600 a month additional on my repayment. Which, you know, I mean, who has an extra £500 or £600 a month just hanging around there?
Many people are already struggling with day-to-day expenses, but the Bank of England has made this move to try and curb rising prices. It makes it more expensive to borrow, people have less to spend, and in turn price increases should slow. But mortgage brokers in our region say customers are worried.
I think there's about 800,000 mortgages fixed rate will come to fruition in the next 6 months. That's a lot of people that are going to be affected. If they fixed 2 years ago or even 5 years ago, they're coming off a rate that probably starts with a 1, potentially a 2, and now they're going to be going on to a 5%, potentially 6%, depending on their loan to value.
Visiting a distribution centre today, the Prime Minister defended the decision.
Rooting out inflation is not easy, it requires difficult decisions, doesn't happen overnight, but if we don't get on top of it, it would just get worse and it would last longer, and that's not going to do anyone any favours.
The hike to 5% was bigger than expected, and the concern is that the climb in rates might not be over yet. Juliet Fletcher, ITV News.
Well, there's been an unprecedented rise in people asking for help due to the cost of living crisis in the Thames Valley. Heart Citizens Advice Bureau, which is based in Fleet, says calls have risen by a staggering 361%.
Well, it's led to charities in Hampshire calling on local people and businesses for more donations so they can help those most in need. Andrew Pate has more.
Ian says the North End Pantry in Portsmouth is a lifesaver. Living on his private pension, he doesn't know what he'd do without this community food store.
I've been broke, I've been down to my last pound, less than £1. And this place, I mean, for a £5, it was £4 until April. You get groceries coming to about £15, £20 perhaps. And it's been a lifesaver for me, I tell you. It's kept me going.
Charities here say with food prices continuing to rise, things are likely to get even more difficult.
Our deliveries from our charities are getting more hit and miss. They haven't got the food to give to us. So we're having to obtain more grants from different agencies, companies, charities to enable us to go out and get this wholesale fruit and veg.
Good morning, Citizens Advice. Sarah speaking. How can I help you?
The number of calls into the Citizens Advice Bureau in Hart in North Hampshire has risen by 361%.
It's a very different sort of demographic that we're seeing, and many of these people are in work, so about 50% of our clients are actually employed. For the first time, they're coming to us saying, you know, that they can't afford what they could afford before. And we are in an affluent area. Hart District is an affluent area, but the problems are here as they are across the country.
Charities in Hampshire are calling for local philanthropists and businesses to help with donations to deal with the increase in demand.
What other help are you getting on that right now? Have you managed to apply for any grants? Have you spoken to your energy company at all?
David is one of the volunteers. He often checks with callers they're okay for food.
One example that I had was a young mother with a preschool-aged child, and her comment was, "I have got nothing for tonight nor for the weekend." This was on a Thursday, so she'd got nothing at all to feed the child on till Monday.
Charities are calling for help so they can help others. Andrew Pate, ITV News.
In other news, the third teenager who died in a crash in Oxfordshire has been named. Ethan Goddard, who was 18, has been described by his family today as a kind, generous, caring young man with a great sense of humour. He was killed when the BMW he was travelling in crashed into a tree on the A415 at Marcham early on Tuesday morning. Daniel Hancock and Elliot Pullen, who was 17, also died in the crash.
The parents of a Reading teenager who was murdered after a feud on social media have been at Westminster to listen to the next stage of the online safety bill. Ollie Stevens was 13 when he was stabbed to death in a park by 3 teenagers 2 years ago. The bill, which is looking to regulate tech and online companies, is at the committee stage in the House of Lords.
I'm grateful to the government that they've agreed to bring forward amendments at report that will go a very long way towards closing the loopholes which allow companies to refuse the demands of coroners and ignore the entreaties of parents.
Today it was really good to hear that they have really given thought to and are going to make sure and enforce that Ofcom can, on the behalf of the coroner, police and parents, ask for the data from the children, because it is so vital. In so many cases, parents are left thinking, why, what's happened?
Staff working at hospitals across Oxford have been sharing their stories of abuse while at work. It's part of a campaign to stop aggressive behaviour by members of the public. The No Excuses initiative began last year after concerns that abuse was increasing at hospitals.
You're watching ITV News Meridian here in the Thames Valley. Still to come.
Ladies' Day at Royal Ascot, all the colour and the glamour of one of the biggest sporting days of the year, and why it was a good day too for His Majesty the King.
And just a reminder, you can find more news from right across the Thames Valley by heading to our website. Just go to itv.com/Meridian. You can also give us a call on 0808 1010 095. And remember, you can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And it's always great to hear from you. Today marks 75 years since the Empire Windrush arrived from the Caribbean, beginning a wave of mass migration that helped prepare Britain after the Second World War.
Well, many people who came here stayed, worked and settled, but in recent years, thousands were wrongly classed as illegal immigrants, despite living here for decades. Kerry Swain is in Southampton, where special events have been taking place for the anniversary.
Welcome to the steamship Shield Hall, which will be playing a part in the Windrush celebrations. Details in a minute. The Windrush wasn't the first or the only ship to bring Caribbean migrants to this country. In 1947, the Almanzora, with 200 passengers from the West Indies, docked here in Southampton. Members of what's become known as the Windrush generation continued to arrive until the early 1970s. Among them, the father of Sonia Forbes, who's with us now. Sonia, tell me about your father.
My mum and dad came over in 1957. They have been in Southampton all their lives. After 4 days of being in this country, he got a job with an oil company and he stayed there for 48 years until he retired. He also is part of the Harbour Light Steel Band, which my mum named, and that has been going for over 50 years.
What do you think his generation has contributed?
Apart from food, music, there are so many contributions made by so many people, but we brought life. We brought good food. We brought good music.
And why is it important, do you think, that we continue celebrating Windrush Day?
Because we mustn't forget how it all began. Our parents were invited here. They are all British citizens, and they're invited here to help boost the economy and to build the country after the war. So we mustn't forget those details.
And you'd like to see children taught about this?
Absolutely. I do believe one of the only platforms we can deliver this is through the school curriculum.
Sonia, thank you. Well, as Sonia said, men and women from the Caribbean were invited, encouraged to come here. Yet in recent years, shocking stories have emerged of people being detained, even deported as illegal immigrants. Derek Johnson has this report.
Anthony Bryan visiting Southampton and telling his shocking story. In 2015, after 50 years in Britain, he applied for a passport, only for the Home Office to classify him as an illegal immigrant.
Well, at first I thought they made a mistake, because I've been here from I'm 9 years old. And I went primary school here, went secondary school here, I had my national insurance when I was 15, or close to 16. So I thought they made a mistake. Well, unfortunately, they came and locked me up, lost my job, couldn't go to I couldn't rent nowhere.
Very sadly, Anthony Bryan's story was not unique. Hundreds like him who had moved from the Caribbean when they were very young were caught up in the government's hostile environment policy, introduced to cut immigration numbers by making it hard for those without the correct documentation to continue living here.
If you couldn't prove you're British, it was automatically assumed that you're an illegal immigrant. And lots of the Windrush generation, the children of the Windrush generation that came to Britain during the 50s, 60s and 70s, who came with their parents' passports or aunts' uncles' passports as minors, and especially those who didn't get a passport in their own right, automatically seemed to be illegal immigrants, and they weren't, because they paid their taxes, they worked hard, raised families.
When news of the policy emerged, there was widespread anger. Prime Minister Theresa May offered an apology. But a compensation scheme for those affected has been criticised for being slow and complex.
I could have been one of those children who were shipped back to Jamaica, because I came here on my mother's passport. And because the onus was on us to try and prove that we had a right to be here, it made it really difficult for a lot of people. And of course that caused a lot of hurt for our community, regardless whether you're relatives or not. You know, any of us could have been in that situation.
And some feel that Black Britons today are still treated as second-class citizens.
There's very much a big struggle because it hasn't ended. It's filtered onto this generation as well. But yeah, there's the sense of it feels like it's fresh. It feels like it's happened now because I'm still able to feel it.
How do you feel about what you went through now?
To be honest, it was a bittersweet, because I felt going through that, it kind of tests that love what I had feeling. They feel like, well, what am I doing here? Because they don't want me here. There's some genuine people who feel sorry that I've gone through that, so that kind of cancelled that out a bit, you know. So I'm glad to have them person there around me.
Derek Johnson, ITV News.
A member of Anthony Bryan's family told me that 8 years after police broke down his door and locked him up, he's still so traumatised he wraps thick tape around his door knocker to prevent loud knocks, which remind him of that traumatic day. With me now is Lou Taylor, Director of Black History Month South. Lou, Windrush scandal are two words that are in our conversations so often. What's your reaction to this lack of compensation being paid out?
The situation is this: 3 out of 4 people have still not received their compensation, and we're in 2023. The downside of that also is that a lot of the administration that was set up to deal with that compensation has now been dismantled. So it's going to take even longer.
What more can we do to honour the members of the Windrush generation?
I think first and foremost, get the money paid. Let's get this done. A very clear apology from the government would be something worth doing, and actually for everyone to celebrate these things, because this generation, the Windrush generation, they really put a lot into the UK. The NHS, transport, all of those things were really important. We have all benefited from their efforts.
Let's finish on a positive note. We're on a ship, there's a special sailing. Why a ship?
So the reason we've chosen this ship, which is the SS Shield Hall, which is based in Southampton, we've chosen water, because water's a conduit. It's a conduit between the West Indies and the UK. It's a conduit between West Africa and the West Indies, which is why people there in the first place. So we thought, celebrate it on water, and that's why we're doing this.
And you're doing what on Saturday?
So on Saturday, the 24th of June, we've got a special sailing. It's a celebration. We're on board the SS Shield Hall. It's going to be going around the Solent. We've got music. We've got Caribbean food. It's going to be absolutely really good fun. We've got a Windrush exhibition as well, so if you're not sure what the Windrush is all about, come and join us, come and see us, and you'll learn something, if nothing else.
Lou, thank you so much. Well, the Windrush sank in 1954 after a fire on board, but her name will live on in the West Indian men and women she brought here and their descendants, who've all contributed so much.
Reece Wayne there on the anniversary of Windrush. So it sounds like the Shield Hall is going to be the place to be this weekend.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Well, the ITV Evening News continues here at 6:30 with a preview now. Mary Nightingale.
Coming up with the programme, misery for mortgage holders as interest rates rise to 5%, the highest in 15 years. The Bank of England is battling to bring down soaring prices, but will its tactic pay off? Also tonight, we'll bring you the very latest on the search to find the lost Titanic son. Here, it's 75 years since the Empire Windrush docked, celebrating the pioneers who came from the Caribbean. And join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Next to our coverage of the Special Olympics in Berlin, and today we're looking at the football.
This year, Team GB has a squad of 11 athletes taking part, including Charlie Hood, Daniel Braithwaite, Bradley Stewart and Harry Cam from our region. Our reporter Catherine Walker spent the day with them.
Ahead of the game, the team gathered for a surprise pep talk from none other than Jurgen Klopp.
You're a true inspiration to all of us, and the World Games is now your stage. Good luck.
The Liverpool manager joined Eddie Howe and Sir Alex Ferguson to wish Great Britain good luck.
All the best.
It's a morning Bradley from Benfleet won't ever forget.
It was great. I'm a Liverpool fan, so hearing a message from my team's manager is absolutely amazing. It's an absolute dream. I never thought I'd get this opportunity in my life. I won't forget this time.
And Special Olympics Great Britain.
Motivated by the greats, the team took to the pitch, and it wasn't long before they scored a goal. Bradley's mum couldn't contain her excitement.
Oh my God, it's absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah, brilliant. I've always said to him when he's sitting on the sofa in the lounge when he was younger, I always said to him, Bradley, one day Klopp's going to ring you up and he's going to call you up and you are going to get picked to play for England. And he's been picked to play for England.
The chance to represent their country is a huge opportunity for the entire team. And Jack Venturini was overwhelmed by the enormity of the occasion.
It means the world to me, like, to be selected for GB and wearing this shirt, just a dream come true.
You must be so proud of yourself.
I am pumped, yeah, I've worked so hard to get here, yeah, so I'm really happy and yeah, I'm good.
Watching on the sidelines, it's also a career highlight for team coach Ben from Southampton.
I mean, I've wanted to be, I wrote on a post-it note about 6 years ago that I wanted to coach at a Special Olympics World Games and, dream come true for me. Everything about it has been top class, so to come to a World Games, but to come to a World Games like this is pretty special.
Especially when Great Britain wins 6-0. With hugs and kisses all around, it's clear the memories they've made today will last a lifetime.
Well done, Charlie.
Catherine Walker, ITV News in Berlin.
Meanwhile, there's been silver medal success at the Special Olympic World Games in our region. Philip Palmer from Dunlop took second place in the dressage after a tough day of competition, just days after meeting and riding his winning horse for the first time. We caught up with Philip once he'd picked up his medal.
Absolutely brilliant, very amazing.
He's done so well. Philip rides once a week in a group lesson with Riding for Disabled, so he probably doesn't get to ride as much as many people. So he's done fabulously well, riding on these strange horses that they've never met before this week, and learning these dressage tests, working trails, English equitation. So delighted with how he's done, brilliantly.
Brilliant work, Philip. Congratulations. Well done. Now, the sun's been shining at Royal Ascot, but today hasn't just been about the horses. It was also about the hats, the dresses and the shoes. Because today was Gold Cup Day, also known as Ladies' Day. It's one of the most glamorous events in the racing calendar, and racegoers didn't disappoint on day 3 of the 5-day meeting. There were plenty of extravagant and colourful outfits, from flowers to feathers, sequins and spirals. Everyone pulled out all the stops and were dressed to impress.
I think it's just a great atmosphere, everyone's getting dressed up, it's just a really enjoyable day.
Well, I started with my hat, which I made myself, and then I kind of built it around that.
This is part of my collection, it's called Equilibrium, and I wanted to wear a top hat because it's very recognisable at Royal Ascot.
We always match, that's something that we always do.
We've done this for 18 years. We've been together 18 years, and she always says we have to
coordinate.
There are echoes.
I was going to say. So I came in today, I said about, I haven't worn this dress for 3 years and it doesn't fit, but I'm wearing it to match with
because it matches my tie. Fantastic.
Now, great pictures there from Mel Bloor. And Mel has been finding out about the history of Ladies' Day.
The thrills and spills of horse racing coupled with high fashion and glamour. Across the years, the third day of Royal Ascot has become one of, if not the most popular and well attended, where millinery masterpieces take centre stage alongside flat racing's most elite stayers.
Royal Ascot lives up to its reputation as a gathering where headgear matters quite as much as the horses.
Officially called Gold Cup Day, Ladies' Day is a colloquial term and was traditionally when women were given free or discounted tickets. Nowadays, it's where the worlds of fashion and horse racing collide.
So of course, because of the world famous and fantastic racing that we have on that day, I think really became a focus for people during the week to use that as their point to really showcase what they were all about fashion-wise. So we always see some incredible millinery. And of course now it isn't just for ladies to show how they're wearing and how they're expressing themselves. We encourage everybody to use that really as the day to go big and have some enjoyment.
The earliest mention of the name Ladies' Day dates back to an early 19th century poem which referred to Ladies' Day, when the women, like angels, look sweetly divine. The poem's author remains unknown, but their words have endured.
I mean, Royal Ascot is as much a social and fashion event as it is a racing event, and that's something we say with unashamed pride. You know, we're very, very fortunate that none of the fashion that takes place here is forced. There are no competitions for best dressed lady or best dressed gentleman and what have you. It's all one organic, genuine fashion show of everybody wanting to dress up for the occasion.
From the very first Royal Ascot, the fashion on offer has presented a mix of the traditional and the eccentric. And although the discount for ladies no longer exists, the desire to dress to impress most certainly does. Mel Bloor, ITV News, Ascot.
Very nice. And talking of history, King Charles has had his first winner at Royal Ascot.
Desert Hero has won for His Majesty the King.
A Desert Hero ridden by Tom Marquand, who lives in Berkshire, won the 305 ahead of rather fittingly Valiant King, who came in second. The King's mother, the late Queen, had 24 Ascot winners during her time as monarch, so King Charles has a way to go yet, but he's off and running.
He certainly is, and I heard that he actually knocked down the trophy at some point because he was so happy about that win. Yeah. OK, let's get you weather now. Here's Sally Williams.
Feels like home, whatever the weather. Valent boilers and heat pumps,
sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello there, a very good evening to you. I hope you had a lovely day. Now, this little bird's got the right idea. Stay hydrated, have a good drink. Things are dry and warm through the next few days, mostly dry anyway. Quite a lot of humidity, so it means we're going to get those muggy nights again, I'm afraid. Let's take a look at the detail for you. So there are still some heavy showers outside, the risk of a bit of thunder and lightning as well, but they fade away. Most people enjoying a very dry evening, clear skies, and overnight just the chance of a little bit of mist and fog forming in a few spots. It's going to be pretty warm, as you can see. Plenty of us staying up into the mid-teens. So just getting that little bit more uncomfortable at night time. But as we head through into tomorrow, any early mist disappearing pretty quickly. A really nice summer's day for you. Lots of blue sky and sunshine, generally dry. There'll be a little bit of cloud cropping up here or there, and another warm one. Highs of 24 to 25 or 26 degrees. Right, let's take a little look at the high tide times. There we go. Portsmouth at 3:03 in the morning and 3:45 in the afternoon. Here's the outlook. So as we head into the weekend, turning warm, a little bit hazier, and a cold front passing through on Sunday means things will be a little bit fresher as we head into next week. Here's the pollen.
Valent sponsors ITV Meridian Weather.
Hello, summer. Piri sponsors ITV Pollen Count.
Well, I do feel for anyone with hay fever. It's felt like a long season, hasn't it? Still very high levels of grass pollen with nettle and dock pollen in the mix as well. I'll see you later on. Have a lovely evening. Cheerio.
And that is it from us for this evening. In a moment, the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
I'll have your late update. That's at 10:33. I know, very precise for you. From all of us here, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. 10:30.